coming. You could have been anywhere you wanted to with all of your 7, 8 classes, however many you take. You chose to came here. It means a lot to me, so thank you for that. Question for you. How many of you have felt stress in your life or have gotten stressed out, still get stressed out? All right. How many of you have been told by someone older than you, oh, you don't even know what stress is. Wait till you get to the real world. Then you'll have bills to pay, kids to raise. Don't listen to any of that crap, all right? The stress you feel, it's legit. It's valid. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, you've always felt stressed. You may not remember this, but when you were a baby, couldn't talk, you cried whenever you wanted something, right? That was stress. You wanted food, you cried. You needed a diaper change, you would cry. Maybe your mom passed you off to that weird great aunt that smelled like a mixture of mothballs and meatloaf. You didn't like that, so you started crying? That's stress. Okay, it doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are. I've been in your shoes. I grew up in this area. I know how insanely competitive Northern Virginia is in terms of academics, athletics, religious groups that you're in. Everything gets measured. Every quiz you take, every test, there's a lot of stress. I'm not saying this to geek you out right now. I'm saying this because what you feel is real. It's legit, and hopefully some of the stuff we talk about will help you manage it, get through it, whatever. So here's a list of what we'll talk about. We're going to control what we can control. We're going to talk about a mindset of getting to do something rather than having to do it. Focusing on the 200 feet in front of us. Being an energy giver versus being an energy taker. And then taking gratitude walks. Maybe one of these hits on you. Maybe 2 of them. Definitely not all. That's why we have so many, so that something can strike with you. Because it's not all going to. So the first one is to control what you can control. I'm no scientist. I'm no math guy, but I would say probably 90% of the stuff that stresses you out, you have no control over it. How many tests you have in a week, when a project is due, the fact that us teachers can't get on the same page and assign stuff spaced out for you, that's out of your control. You cannot fix that. What you can control is your attitude. How do you approach it? How do you handle it? I'm sure many of us, maybe you have 4 tests, right? 4 tests in a week and a project due on Friday. Maybe we'll study for 2 of them because we have a retake policy here at Oakton. Or, I'm not going to turn in that project, I'm still going to get 50%. And that is you controlling what you can control, and that's good, but that may not work when you graduate from Oakton. Let's say you want to be a doctor, and you're operating on someone's ACL in their knee. Oops, you severed their artery and they bleed out and die. You going to get a retake on that? Yes? No? Probably not, right? That person's dead. It's over. You want to be a lawyer, and you're trying to put a guy away in jail because he murdered a puppy. Horrible guy. You don't prepare for the case. You show up and you say, Judge McWilliams, I didn't really do my homework on this case, but we're still going to try to prosecute this guy. The judge will say, hey, don't worry about it. We're still going to put this guy away for about half a sentence. Instead of 12 years, how about 6? No, that's not how it works. So, control what you can control. You're going to control how you approach study. You're going to control how you map out your week, how you plan out your week. Today, 30 minutes bio, 30 minutes math, 30 minutes history, then I relax. If you do that each day, you'll be ready for all of your tests because you can't control when teachers assign stuff. It's who we are. We don't get with, I'm a history guy. I don't email the math team and say, hey, when's that algebra test? Thursday? Cool, I'm going to push back what I'm doing. No, I'm too selfish for that. I got to get my schedule done for the SOL, so I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You guys can't control how I do things. Okay, much like I can't control how other teachers teach their class. So what I do is my history world, I run it that way. Okay, so control what you can control and don't worry about the stuff that's simply out of your hands. Next up, the get to versus the have to mindset. Change the way you think about every scenario you're in. How many of you have woken up, you're super tired, like, I have to go to school today. I have to take this test today. Right? That's a pretty normal thing. Just by simply changing the way you talk to yourself, by saying, I get to do this, will decrease your stress right away. I get to go to school in one of the best counties in the country. I get it. You guys, that doesn't really register with you yet. But if you look out in the big scheme of things, being able to live in this area is a very good thing. A lot of good schools here. You've got a community that cares about your education, that provides you the opportunity to go on to a good school or go on and get a good job. You get to do a lot of things. I look around, I see a lot of people that have had me as a teacher. So you've heard this story before. Those of you that haven't, it's a different one. Before I became a teacher, I had a lot of different jobs. I didn't know what I was going to be. My plan was to get paid to play baseball. As you can see, that worked out really well for me. Here I am. But when I graduated college and the teams I thought maybe had shown interest didn't draft me, I was like, well, what am I going to do now? And I didn't know. I sold gym memberships. I was a personal trainer. I bartended at night pretty much all the way up until I became a teacher. But another job I had was I worked in a surgery center. My job wasn't performing surgeries. It was cleaning up after surgeries. Okay? I see a lot of smiles. I think you know where this story's going. Some of you. There was one day, sitting in the operating room hallway, waiting for a case to come out. And over the intercom, they say, operating room 4, we have a code brown. This is my first week on the job. I don't know what the heck a code brown is. I'm sure some of you are starting to put 2 and 2 together. We put on these big hazmat suits. You know, the big things like, you look like an astronaut walking in or a big marshmallow man. Myself and our kind of cleanup crew walk into this room. Guys, there is floor to ceiling, wall to wall, poop everywhere. Someone's digestive system had exploded during surgery, and there was, everywhere. That's why it's called a code brown. I got to go in there and clean it up. I know that's a weird thing to think about, but you look out on a room covered in poo, you have to change your mindset, otherwise you're not going to get out of there. You're just not. I got to do that. I made sure, our crew made sure that we cleaned it up spotless, so the next surgery that went in there, they had no idea what happened. With that job, I got to do a lot of things that people don't get to do. I got to watch somebody operate on an ACL. You guys ever heard of Tommy John surgery? Where someone has hurt their elbow, the ligament here, they take ligaments out of the wrist or maybe the leg because that guy's that big and they replace it. I got to watch that surgery. People don't get to watch surgery unless they're the ones cutting it open. I'm not smart enough to be a doctor or a surgeon, but I got to watch. I didn't have to go in there and clean up poop, but because of my job, I got to go in there, clean up some poop, and then I got to watch ACL surgery. I got to watch a rotator cuff get fixed. That's the kind of stuff that I got from that job because my mindset was okay. My stress levels were down. Next up is our 200 feet mindset. This picture, it's kind of tough to see. This is from a windshield of a car driving at night. Okay? When you're driving at night, all you can see from your headlights are the 200 feet in front of you. That should always be your focus. Just focus on the little things in front of you as opposed to the big things. Having long-term goals in life is essential. It is so important, but it's unattainable if you don't have the short-term goals. Will somebody volunteer and tell me what they want to be? Don't. Yes, what would you like to be?
I want to be a camp director.
You want to be a camp director? Good. What do you want to be?
A librarian.
You want to be a librarian? At a high school, a big library, a college?
Don't know yet, just want to be a librarian.
Good. You got the long term, we'll figure out the short term stuff. That's good. Yes?
I want to work in forensic science.
Forensic science. Perfect. Let's go with that. Okay? You're going to be a forensic scientist tomorrow?
No.
Probably not, right? I almost said Scientologist. I know. You're going to focus on the 200 feet, right? Right now, you're 200 feet. Getting through this school year. All right, a couple months left. You'll get through it. You enjoy your summer. Your next 200 feet, getting through parts of your next school year. Next 200 feet, maybe getting into a good school. After that, a good graduate school. Then you become a forensic Scientologist, scientist, whatever. You got to focus on the little things first before you can move on to the big things. Focus on the 200 feet in front of you. When you think about those big things, it can be overwhelming. That's when the stress builds up. If you can hit small successes on the way, you're going to get the big ones at the end. This one's very important, I think, for all of us in this room and anybody in this school building. There are 2 people in this world. Energy givers, energy takers. Anytime you walk into a room, you want to think about what you are. I see it all the time as a teacher. I'm guilty of it. Some students are guilty of it too. They come in the room and it's just like body language, right? Hunched over. First things out of their mouth is, oh, I just failed that test. They are bringing in bad energy and they're taking it right out of the room, right? That can affect other people. If I've had a bad day, you know, maybe a couple of class periods have worn me out and it's 8th period now, and I'm just like, I'm drained, I'm having a bad day, and I don't come in with my energy, I'm taking it right out of the room. 8th period's not going to get anything done. You'll be like, oh, Mr.Kaplan doesn't care today, we don't care today either. I've taken the energy. You want to be a giver, okay? Everything in life, energy and enthusiasm. It takes no talent, no skill, no nothing to give energy, to give enthusiasm. Show that you care. It can be very contagious. How many of you guys play sports? Good. How many of you have been on the wrong end of a game where you lost like 12-0, 10-0, something like that? pretty much anyone that played sports. Those games do end that way sometimes. They don't always have to. All you need is one or two people on your team giving energy, providing enthusiasm. It may get contagious. Start rallying people up. Maybe you get through it. That's a great way to get rid of stress. Maybe something's weighing you down. It's causing you to just have no energy, no enthusiasm. Just smile. Okay? That is a small thing you can do, and it makes you feel a lot better. Okay? I don't like talking too much about myself, my personal life with students, but some of you may know my wife is pregnant. We're like 1 or 2 weeks away. Like, it's go time. Like, you thought I was cleaning up a lot of poop at my old job, game on, right? Right now, the baby's like stuck with its head right here in my wife's ribs. Like, it's fine, everything's gonna be fine, but like the baby's head at this point is supposed to be downward, but it's not. So there's a lot of things we're gonna do and it's all good, but we got all this news yesterday. And I look at my wife and she's wearing it, man. She's no energy, taking it out of the room. I just smiled. I mean, inside I was a wreck. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on with little baby Kaplan here? But I smiled, made me feel better for like 6 seconds. And my wife was like, okay, maybe it's not going to be so bad. I mean, as soon as we got in the car, she broke down crying. But I kept smiling, right? I kept smiling, hoping to give her some energy. We woke up today, the sun was out. It was all good. That baby's going to be fine. We're not worried about it. But it was a rough day, but we're good. Last thing I want you guys to try, a gratitude walk. How many of you guys go to the bathroom or leave class to take a walk to re-energize, and the first thing you do is flip out your phone or throw in the buds? All of your hands are up, I know. Okay, you all do it. You throw in the headphones or you go on your phone, start texting, whatever. That's fine. It's a good way to recharge the brain after a long day in class. A gratitude walk, you remind yourself of 3 things you're thankful for, you're grateful for. It can be something as simple as, I've got great parents who are supportive of me. I got great friends. I get to live in Northern Virginia. Or, I don't know, what are some things you guys are grateful for, thankful for? Yes, sir.
Being able to play video games.
Absolutely. There are people out there in the world that can't play video games. You guys can do it simply in your hand, and when you get home, you can do that. What else are you guys grateful for? Pets. Absolutely. You got a dog or a cat? Or a fish or a hamster? Dog. Very cool. So you get to go home. Is that dog excited to see you when you get home? No question. Of course. Remind yourself of things you're thankful for. Next time you go out in the hall when you're walking around, before you open up the phone, remind yourself how good you've got it. Because I had a coach tell me once, the mindset of compared to what? Or it can always be worse. I know times can seem tough in high school. I mean, you've got academic pressures, peer pressures. You just got a new haircut and you're feeling pretty good about yourself. All it takes is one jerk to say something and your day's shot. I get that. It can always be worse. My dad always said the difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut is 2 weeks. Your hair grows back. It's all right. It can always, always, always be worse. That's a great way to lower down your stress, is to remind yourself of that. There's always somebody that's worse off. And it's sad to think about, but it maybe pick you up for this much. Okay? So while I've thrown a lot at you, a lot of different ideas, not all of these may have been good for you. Some of these may not work for you. So I want to leave you with this quote from John Wooden. John Wooden was the legendary basketball coach at UCLA. I don't know, he won like 8 or 9 championships in a row, hundreds and thousands of games. He said it's better to do a little bit, a lot, than a lot of it, a little. So if you try to do everything we just talked about every single day, that's a lot of it, a little. And you're not going to get great at a lot of it. If you pick 1 or 2 out of these things, you do them a lot, you'll do really, really well. Like I said, it can be very stressful. Personally, so far in my life, I think the 4 years of high school are the most stressful. You got pressure to get into a good college. It doesn't matter, but the person next to you got a higher quiz grade, that may affect you. That may damage your confidence. Don't sweat all that stuff. Believe in yourself. Confidence is a choice. You choose to be confident. Okay, you can go out there, maybe you're not having the most successful run. Maybe you've not done so great on a couple tests, a couple grades are lower. You can still choose to believe in yourself. You can choose to be okay with what's going on, knowing that the next step will be all right. Confidence is a choice. Control what you can control. And thank you very much for your time.